Have you ever heard the phrase, they sow the wind and reap the whirlwind? It's one of those idioms that sounds like ancient wisdom, but when you actually dig into where it comes from, Hosea, chapters 8 through 14, it's terrifying. It's not just about cause and effect, it's about a total systemic collapse.
Exactly. It's the difference between a bad harvest and a natural disaster. We're looking at the final section of Hosea today, and honestly, the tension is suffocating. You have a nation, Israel, that is frantically trying to save itself through politics and military alliances, all while their spiritual foundation is rotting away.
It feels surprisingly modern, doesn't it? That desperate scrambling for security. In chapter 8, there's this vivid image of a trumpet being put to the lips, an alarm sounding. What exactly is the emergency here?
The emergency is that they've broken the covenant, but in a very specific way. They're manufacturing their own leadership. Hosea points out that they set up kings, but without God's approval. They're churning out princes and crafting idols out of their silver and gold. It's this frantic, do-it-yourself approach to national security.
Right, treating leadership like a disposable commodity.
Precisely, and the irony is thick. They build these calf idols in Samaria to secure their future, but the text says, the workman made it, so it can't be God. It's going to be smashed to bits. That's where the sowing the wind comes in. If your foundation is air, empty promises, and man-made idols, the result isn't just nothing. It's a destructive force, a whirlwind.
And it seems like their foreign policy was just as chaotic. They're described like a wild donkey wandering alone, hiring lovers among the nations, Assyria and Egypt.
That metaphor of hiring lovers is brutal. It strips away the dignity of their diplomacy. They think they are making savvy political alliances, but Hosea says they are essentially selling themselves. They're oscillating between Egypt and Assyria, trying to play both sides, but they're just going to get swallowed up.
But then the tone shifts. We get into chapter 11, and suddenly the angry judge vanishes, and we see a parent?
This is, in my opinion, one of the most emotional passages in the entire prophetic library. You go from political critique to a heartbreaking home video. God describes Israel not as a rebellious subject, but as a toddler. He talks about teaching Ephraim to walk, taking them by the arms, bending down to feed them.
It's incredibly vulnerable. You don't usually hear the Almighty described as someone bending down to spoon-feed a child.
That's what makes the betrayal so painful. The text says, they didn't know that I healed them. It's the tragedy of a parent whose child doesn't recognize them anymore. And you see this internal conflict within God. He asks, how can I give you up, Ephraim? It's like his justice demands punishment, but his compassion is physically painful to him. His heart is turned within him.
So he refuses to destroy them completely?
He refuses to be a monster. He says, I am God and not man. He won't execute the full fierceness of his anger because his nature is holy, which implies a mercy that transcends human logic. But, and this is a big but, that doesn't mean there are no consequences.
Right, because chapter 13 gets dark again. Very dark.
It's the darkest before the dawn, because they've forgotten their maker, the one who fed them in the wilderness. God describes himself not as a shepherd, but as a predator, a lion, a leopard, a bear, robbed of her cubs.
That is a terrifying shift. From a father teaching a child to walk, to a bear robbed of cubs.
It shows the severity of the situation. They've become fat and happy on their pastures and forgotten the source. The destruction described is total. Political structures, kings, judges, all swept away. It's the death of the nation as they knew it.
But the book doesn't end in the grave, does it? We have chapter 14.
No, it doesn't end in the grave, and this is the miracle of Hosea. After all the whirlwinds and lions, the final chapter is quiet. It's a call to return. Take words with you, he says. Not sacrifices, not money, just words. Honest confession.
And the imagery changes from violence back to nature.
It becomes organic again. God promises to be like the dew to Israel. They will blossom like the lily and strike roots like the cedars of Lebanon. It's a picture of restoration that comes from being grounded, not from frantic striving. It's the opposite of the wild donkey wandering. It's a tree, planted and shading others.
It really highlights that contrast between the work of our hands, the idols and alliances, and the fruit that comes from God.
Exactly. The text ends with a very philosophical challenge. Who is wise? Let him understand these things. It leaves the ball in the listener's court. You can walk in these ways and find life, or you can rebel and stumble.
It's a choice between the whirlwind and the dew. One destroys, the other revives.
And the scary part is, we're usually the ones planting the seeds.
A sobering thought to leave on. It makes you wonder what we're sowing in our own lives today. Thanks for breaking this down with me.
Always a pleasure. Let's hope for a harvest of wisdom. If you have been blessed by this, please like, subscribe, and share this joy with others. God bless.